Well, hello everyone and welcome to Diamond Art with Dale. We're continuing on working with this diamond painting. Today I'm going to do a little bit of tips and tricks and tools video basically. So these are a couple of the tools I'll be working on because I'll be doing the straightening of the drills part of this diamond painting. So in preparation to doing this diamond painting, one of the steps is, of course, is to make sure your drills are as straight as possible. I mean, we can't get them perfect, but we do try and get them pretty straight. There is always this odd spot here and there, which I found. Now, it's in a dark area, of course, so that's always interesting. But as you can see, I found a little bumpy one that's a bit raised up here, so we're going to just fix that up. And I'm also just going to just show you what I do just to make sure that the area is ready for sealing. So, yeah, I'm just going to show you a couple of tools and what I use for that. Now, one of the tools, of course, is a straightening tool. Edge, I have one of these big plastic ones. You can get these from a lot of the e-store diamond painting places like One Day Savings, etc. that you've seen me unbox things on the channel. I'm sure you can get them from Amazon, eBay, anything like that as well. They're only usually fairly cheap. I think they roughly around that sort of $5 Australian sort of mark. I don't think they're overly expensive, as far as I remember. It could be more now, I don't know, but I've had this one for quite a long time. They've got a nice big edge. Bit of muck on that one. I'll try and keep my tools clean, but unfortunately I haven't done that for this video. Yeah, so it's got a good edge there that I'll show you how that runs along the drills basically to get them nice and level. It's got a bit of a contour edge to your handle to give you a bit of grip. So you just hold it like so. So that is the main tool we'll be using as our straightening tool. You can also get small ones that you can put on the end of your diamond painting pen. So they're much smaller. They're much the same size as the 9 to 10 placer, multi-placer. And it's got like a flat edge. And you can get that in some kits as well if you're lucky. Some do have that in their diamond painting kits. So if you get one of them, it will work for this idea just as well. So you can use something big like this or one of those attachments, which I should have one to show you, but I don't right now. But anyway, I'll try and add maybe a little picture in here or something. The other thing I use once I've straightened the drills to make sure they're all pressed in place and so forth, because sometimes when you're doing this they move around. After I do all that straightening, I will use a brayer, just a nice simple roller. So once they're in place, I can then firmly press all the drills down, because they do tend to move when I'm doing the straightening process. Of course, you're pushing the drills up against each other and so forth. And yeah, so sometimes when they are not real sticky or whatnot, they can sort of pop and move around a bit. And yeah, so sometimes it helps to push them all back down, make sure they're nice and firm before we seal the diamond painting. All right, so the other little tool I'm going to mention I'll probably use today is a good pair of tweezers. Now this is a nice pointy end one that I've actually, this one I've gotten from Spell Queen, but anyway. But you can get these in some different kits and so forth. These really nice fine ones are ideal. Most tweezers will work for this, but if you can get your hands on these really fine ones, they are the best. I find personally anyway, to try and maneuver these tiny little drills into where I want them to go. So the first thing I'm going to do is I found this little bobbly bit. I don't know if the light's getting on it properly there, or I'm shadowing it. But there's just a little raised drill that's obviously moved out of place just here. So I want to just use something like my tweezers to make sure it goes into where I want it. So what I might actually do, because I can feel myself moving around, I'm going to put you in the holster. So up we go. All right, so I've saved you all that seasickness and moving around and just cut back into here. As you can see, the drills aren't sitting quite where they should be. I know it's a bit of a bugger because it's dark colours. But this one's actually slipped down out of place, and this one's now folding up. It's a bit hard to see, but they are a bit on the wonky side. So something like that, you can easily use some tweezers, or your diamond painting pen can also work, and you can just push them into place to make sure that they're sitting where you want them to in the final stages, basically, before you seal your diamond painting. So we're just doing some more prep work today on this diamond painting before we seal it up. Now I'm just going around just by feel. Sometimes you can just feel them very gently because you don't want to knock these drills out of their spot. Sometimes you can feel they're raised like that and you can just press them down with your fingers. Sometimes that works. But yeah, if you just feel like you need to just move them around, tweezers are the go. Now the other little thing while I'm just on about tweezers, we'll just get them out of the way on the tools, is I like to go around with the tweezers and just check for any bits of debris and fluff. Now I've already gone over this fairly well last night when I was thinking about it, and I thought, you know what, maybe I can just share this experience with you guys as well. So I have done a little bit of work on it, so I a little bit advanced this piece already. But there is always that odd spot here and there between your drills, I find, that sometimes has a little bit of muck or fluff. There we go, here's a little bit here. For whatever reason, and not to disturb everything too much, just getting in there with some tweezers to get them out those individual bits. Yeah, and just remove them like that. Sometimes they stick in between the drills and you need to fish it out. I've had bugs even land in between here and the drills into the sticky part. So I've had to actually sneak them out of my diamond painting before. So I've just sort of ran the tweezers in the gap because they're so fine and been able to pinch and pull out little bits of unwanteds, basically. Some little bits of fluff here and there. There's a little bit of something I don't really fancy stuck on there. Got that, I think. Now the other thing with this diamond painting I had to also be aware of is that where are they? These areas here are not actually drilled. So I had to clean all the fluff and dust off those as well because they were actually poured glue in those areas as well. So they just poured the whole thing, even though this has no grid and they're open because of the light background. I'll show you the lights, if I can find the button. It's got one on the back of here somewhere. There you go. And because of that feature, they're not drilled. So this area is actually really sticky. So I had to sort of make sure nothing was on there. So I've actually had to tweezer off the odd bit of fluff and whatnot. And then I've actually wiped that down using that isopropyl alcohol and the baby wipe like I did for the edges. Now something I found by using that also, it also restored the stick. Now this was actually lost a lot of stick by just sitting there. I used to tap it to get rid of the stick and so forth because I knew I didn't want things, you know, getting on that area. I didn't want to put drills on there because that was, you know, they're going to be the windows. But after I used that isopropyl alcohol and wipe, the area retained its stickiness a heap, like back to full on, like full adhesiveness basically. So there is something I found that if you are looking to make your area sticky again, maybe you've lost stick for some reason, that seems to work. Isopropyl alcohol and a baby wipe, just, you know, washing the area and cleaning it up like that, seemed to make it nice and sticky again. So that was interesting. As I said, a bit of tips, tricks and tools this video, I tell you. Now, back to what we need to do. So once you've gone over the diamond painting and just checked for any like obvious debris and areas like this particular diamond painting has got to clean using your tweezers, you're pretty much right for those. The next thing I like to do in preparation of sealing, as I said, I don't always seal all my diamond paintings these days. I only doing this one because it's the drills I'm finding are moving and popping out, and as I said, it's going to be hanging on the wall exposed. So therefore, I will have to give it some kind of sealant. Got a really nice sparkle, so I hope I don't lose that. I shouldn't, but you do. I think they dull regardless, to a degree. Now, usually I like to start on the edge and I work my way across, but it's a bit hard to show you from there, so I'll just do it from the middle. Now, using my straightening tool, as I said earlier, it doesn't matter if you've got one of these or if you've got one of the smaller ones that attach to your diamond painting pen. You might find that's easier to hold. You can then go from left to right, right to left, whichever is comfortable for you. I usually start from one side, usually from the left side. It might take my fancy and go to the right, but usually I go from there and work across the painting one way for a while, and then I go up and down. So left and right and then up and down. And what I'd normally do, you know, I have to just do it from there. I was going to try and start from the middle, but it just doesn't feel right. All I do then is just take that edge and I run it through the gap of the two lines of drill, just like so. Up, and then I go to the next one and I run back. Really easy stuff. All right, so just running along there, pushing the drills then into more equal and straight line. And they will move with that glue, no problem. Okay. Basically that right throughout the entire diamond painting, covering the whole, all sections. Oops, I went a bit crooked because I've got that gap of the lights there. And I'm trying to make sure I'm actually shot what I'm doing. So there we go. So that is basically the straightening tool, and what you use that for. Helps get everything just a little bit more straighter in line and just pushes them where they are. They're quite inexpensive unless you lose it. That's the only time I've ever had any issues with one of these. I actually did lose one of these years ago in the craft room and had to buy another one, but I say because they were only fairly cheap, I didn't mind doing that. And then of course once you buy something, the other one turned up, but that's just how life goes, I think. So yeah, so once I've gone over the entire diamond painting with my straightening tool, I will then get my brayer to make sure that all these drills are now well and truly in their spots. Okay, so just do that till you're satisfied with what it looks like. Okay. So the next stage will be pressing down those drills, make sure that they're staying in place. Now you can just use any kind of roller or so forth that you've got. I've got this particular brayer, so you can get these on most of those e-stores as well. Most diamond painting stores are selling these now. Again, you can probably get them on Amazon, eBay, and all sorts of places. Really easy, guys, this one. So this tool is basically just press and roll across the diamond painting. So I'm just going to add not too much force, of course. I don't want to go straight through the canvas onto the other side because it's a what do you call it, a pre-stretched canvas. But I'm going to put a reasonable bit of pressure, and I'm just going to roll it for the full length of the canvas. I might just bring that back out a bit so you can see it, and just move the straightener out of the road. And you should possibly hear some of the drills actually clicking in place. So I'm doing that in pretty much straight lines to where the drills will go, so I'm not knocking them out of lines, etc. All going one way first, and then all going across the diamond painting. Like so. Okay. So that's pretty much how I prep my diamond painting to make sure it's ready for sealing. That's what I'll do next, and I'll show you guys that next little video. But yeah, that's pretty much my tips and tricks for tools for prepping your diamond painting for sealing. So the main three the main three tools I should say I use for that are obviously my straightening tool, or as I said, you can use one of those small attachments to your diamond painting pen, a roller or brayer, which is ideal to help make sure everything stays stuck down as firm as possible, and a good pointy nose pair of tweezers is always great as well. So there you go. So that's just my little quick video on handy tips or tricks for tools for diamond painting. I hope this has been helpful for you guys, and if it has, give us a thumbs up, and I hope you enjoyed this little video. Next, I'll be showing you how I seal this diamond painting using something really basic, a basic thing you probably won't even have around the house yourself. Alright guys, until next time, I'll see you then. Stay well, be safe, and don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video. Thanks guys.